Picture this. Second grade classroom, about 25 students. One of those students is very disruptive. He's hyperactive. He's uncontrollable. He doesn't stay in his seat. He interrupts the teacher. He pesters the other students. He gets diagnosed with ADHD. They put him on medicine. Fixes a lot of stuff. His parents and the schools throughout the rest of his career give the right tools and interventions, help him be successful. He goes on to college, ends up earning an advanced degree in you name the field. It's pretty successful in life. But there's another student in that classroom. This kid's quiet. He's nice, but he's disorganized. Loses things a lot. He's forgetful. He's struggling in reading and math a little bit, so his parents have him tutored. And he improves because he's not a dumb kid, but he's a space case. Teachers think he's stupid. At least that's what he feels. So then he doesn't like them, and he slowly starts to give up on the concept of education. By the time he's in middle school, he's already on to caffeine and nicotine, and he's starting to experiment with drugs and alcohol. He gets into some trouble, so his parents send him to a reform school where the structure does him good, and he ends up graduating high school. But he doesn't go to college right away. He's just floating from job to job, relationship to relationship. He feels misunderstood, and he continues to abuse alcohol and have struggles with that. But he keeps trying to find his way. And finally, when he's 37, 38 years old, he gets diagnosed with ADHD. Now, why am I telling you this story? Well, I'm that second student. This is the ABCs of being me, ADHD. Whoop, almost missed my turn again. About a year and a half into my marriage, my wife comes home. She says, "Hey, I work with this guy that has ADHD, and I think you have ADHD too." I disagree with her adamantly because, in my mind, ADHD is that first student, bouncing off the walls. I didn't see myself as having ADHD. I decided to go to college to earn a degree in education. About third semester, I'm in an ed psychology class. The professor shows this antiquated movie from the 80s where a guy takes a bunch of parents and teachers and puts them in scenarios for them to see what it's like to be a student with a learning disability in a gen ed classroom. He spends one little part talking about the kid that he calls the kid with attention problems. He doesn't even call it ADHD, the movie sold. But what he says about that kid in that short, 30 seconds, it was as if that guy had followed me my entire elementary school career and was explaining exactly what I remember. Woo. That's what led me down the path of finally getting diagnosed as an adult with ADHD. All right. So this is what I'm talking about. I've been planning this like all week. So I was gonna do this video on ADHD, and I was gonna do a video on the Perkiomen Trail. But I forgot like everything. So I drove all the way up here to the parking spot. I'm gonna go back and get some stuff. Totally what I'm talking about. If my head wasn't attached, I would forget it. And I know a lot of people say everybody does things like that, but for me... So a guy comes up to me the other day and he's like, hey, just got diagnosed with diabetes. I've had it my whole life. It's the cause of most of my health problems. I say, hey, I think we all have a little diabetes. I've had low blood sugar before. That's the kind of things people say to you when you have ADHD. Just take your most distracted day. The day when you made the most mistakes, lost the most things. Okay? Now multiply that by 4,000 and make it every day. That's what it's like living with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. First of all, let's talk about what we're talking about. ADHD. It's not a character defect. It's not a lack of willpower. It's not that you're dumb. It's not a lack of discipline. It's not that you're lazy. It's not a behavioral problem. It's a bio-neurological disorder. It's genetic, which means that if you have it, chances are one of your parents has it. Or an uncle, or an aunt, or grandparent. Like a lot of other neurological disorders, there's a spectrum. On the one end, you've got the hyperactivity. Bouncing off the walls. The other end of the spectrum is your inattentive. That's the deep in your own head thoughts, staring out the window, watching the squirrel run up the tree, or the guys across the street mow the lawn or work on the road. It's cranks and drive train back. Just gonna get stuff in my temple. John, you're making a video, man. What are we talking about? Basically what it is, it's a malfunction in the way that your brain utilizes the chemicals that help make connections between the neurons. Namely, dopamine, norepinephrine. There might be some others involved. The only other one that I know the name of is serotonin. Don't quote me on that. What it does is it affects your frontal lobes, the prefrontal cortex. That's your command central. So it ends up in a dysfunction in executive functioning. Let me just describe what that looks like for me. Trouble with concentration. Trouble with task management. Starting tasks, organizing tasks, and finishing tasks. Overall trouble with follow through, which puts a strain on work and relationships. Time management is a huge disorganization, forgetfulness. There's probably more, but I can't organize my thoughts right now. Seriously. Another aspect of it is difficulty. I'm speaking of myself now, with managing emotions. I struggle with huge mood swings and anger problems, like temper outbursts. Try not to come across as too preachy. There's other people that can explain all this stuff better than I can. So I'm gonna link the F.A.T City video and some other videos you're curious, if I can figure out how to do that. Hey, do I know how to do that? I don't think so. Working on it. ridiculous. One in 24 men and women around the world are affected by this. Women probably tend to present the inattentive, which means they go undiagnosed, which is a shame. Because later in life, they're probably getting diagnosed with bipolar disorder and all kinds of things that aren't addressing the issues. All right, I'm done preaching. Hopefully you found this informative, inspiring. If you have, make sure you like. Take your finger and poke the thummy uppy. And if you know anybody that might benefit from this, please take your finger again, tap that share-o. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. All of those things are gonna help more people see my videos, help me grow this channel. I made this video for one main reason, and that was to inspire and inform. Maybe somebody out there is struggling with this themselves or knows somebody who might be. How's it going? So, hopefully this inspires you to go find out whether you or your spouse or your child has ADHD and seek some support. But it's a little bit hypocritical of me because I gave up on medication a long time ago, and currently I'm doing nothing to manage my ADD, and my life's a total wreck. So if I got any hope of being a better father, better husband, a better YouTuber, I need to get that under control. So I'm gonna work on that. So make sure, if you want me to revisit this, make sure you mention it in the comments. In case you forgot, I'm Rubes. These are my Angstcapades. Thanks for watching. Squirrel! Squirrel! A little ADD joke there. GoPro, stop recording.